It was really smart. The way they shot Life of Pi, for example, was they actually had a real tiger on set. Not for every shot, because you got a little boy there, you can't do that.
I mean, I teach animation too. It's just a lot of students, I think the common mistake is they just go, oh, you know, animating a walk cycle. Easy, right? You just make the leg walk. No.
欢迎来到88研究室，大家好，我是 John。今天有两位非常特别的来宾。Okay, so I'm gonna switch it to English now. Welcome our very experienced VFX animators, Matt and Amy. You guys are here visiting Taiwan. How do you like it so far?
I love it. I've only been a couple times. It's my third time here. She grew up here, so she was the first one to drag me here.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, actually, I was born in Kaohsiung, but I lived in Taipei. But I left pretty early. I left the country, high school.
High school, wow.
Yeah.
And where'd you go?
I went over to play. I started in Canada and then went down to the States for work, and I went to London, and I go to New Zealand, and so on and on and on, and then back in the States. And
So what movies have you worked on?
Oh, so many. Most recently, I just finished on the live-action Lilo and Stitch that's coming out very shortly, so that was really fun. But beyond that, just let's see, before that was Indiana Jones and a couple Star Wars movies and The Revenant, Jurassic World, and then before that, Life of Pi. It's a lot.
So out of all the work, which one was the hardest or most memorable?
Honestly, it's been kind of several challenging movies I've been a part of. Anytime you have a realistic animal, so like The Revenant and Life of Pi, similar challenges. You've got this hyper-realistic animal that you've got to get right, and it's got to be believable. Those are always really, really difficult because you have to take your animation to like the next level. It's got to be, and it's super detailed down to the fingernails. It's very time consuming. Those are difficult, and fortunately both had really talented directors, which made it a joy to work on. Most recently, just taking more cartoony characters and bringing them from 2D to 3D is always a challenge because you don't want to let anybody down because people fell in love with that 2D version of it. So I think each project kind of presents its own fun challenges, but those hyper-realistic animals, those are tough.
Do you guys have to like look at the animals a lot?
Every shot has to have some sort of reference. It was really smart. The way they shot Life of Pi, for example, was they actually had a real tiger on set. Not for every shot, because you got a little boy there, you can't do that. But it was enough, like for each scene had maybe one or two shots that were used in the movie, which meant we had to match that. And so it was a real smart way to make the movie.
They didn't do that for the Stitch, right? You can have a real
I would love to have a real Stitch. If you find one, after he's tamed and he's not so crazy, I will take it.
So there's a lot of like B movies in Hollywood, and then also recently in Asia there were a lot of like famous Korean drama or Korean movies that involves visual effects. Even Chinese movies have visual effects, but they don't look as real. Like, what are the differences?
0 to 80% fairly quick. That last 20% really difficult. And for lower budget movies or less time, 80% is enough. It's like it tells the story. All right, we'll move on. Big budget Hollywood films, you have all the resources you need. It's never enough though.
This is from Sweet Home season 3.
oh, I love that show.
I know, I love the show.
Yeah.
But
Remember I showed you that?
this is the part where I'm like, why is it so not believable? How would you make it more, like, how would you make it better?
Well, first of all, it does not have enough of the muscle sim.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. And I don't
doesn't-
know how much of a simulation they have on this character. He's very similar to a character I did in The Incredible Hulk called The Abomination, which has kind of got like, you can feel all the grays and all that kind of stuff. I'd say for like,
It's the detail.
yeah, it's very similar to what our animation pass would be.
Yeah.
And then it would go to a whole nother department of just doing muscle flexing, and you know, we actually had the timing of the blood
Nostril
going through
flare.
and all that kind of stuff. It's just all those little heartbeat. It's like that next level, which once again, when you have time and more money.
So they did 80%. And then
and I think this is not bad.
This is quite good,
Yeah,
really.
there's kind of interesting camera moves in here. They feel very kind of afterwards camera moves that are feeling a little unnatural compared to the other camera.
Oh.
So I think that's creating some oddness to it. There's obviously some green screen work going on here, and
Like for example, I can just see that one shot, all right, when the creature is doing a really, really big move. But have you noticed the guy on the top? He's just still. It's not moving. It's all these little things.
We run into
just-
all
yeah.
these same issues on every movie we work on. I mean,
It's not sitting on the top right there. When it's sitting right there.
think I can see his wires that
Yeah.
they didn't remove.
Yeah.
They're right there.
Oh, that's a wire.
And the
Looks
contact.
like it.
There's a contact. He's just flying on top of it. I don't feel that contact. It just feels like it's one object and another object. All these
they're
little,
kind of just like
the impact.
like,
There's no
let's do
impact.
this. There's another one that's, I thought this part, for some odd reason, I thought was pretty weird.
It's
He's
the
standing
lighting.
in a pretty
Too
red
hard,
environment,
yeah.
and he's pretty blue.
Yeah, there's no light hit on him. There's
Yeah.
no reflection. There's, like it feels like the background and the foreground, they don't mix.
Yeah,
Right?
so
That's what it
I mean,
is.
In
if
the
you-
real life, if this red light hits you, for some, you can see, I can see it in your glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lighting that they're shooting him is very, very different than the digital environment they've created. Actually, all three of them look like they have different lighting on them. You can see his key lights. I think all three of them are shot separately, and then they're in an environment that they didn't have that kind of thing. And that's a lot of the new TV shows and movies we work on. They work in an LED volume, which gives you true reflections and lighting. The difficulty with that is that you have to decide what that background is before you shoot. So you've really got to figure that out, even if you're shooting on a green screen. Otherwise, you end up with something like this.
I mean, it looks pretty
Yeah, it's
good. It's pretty cool. Compared to like Pacific Rim or even Transformers, I mean, there's a little off.
It looks good. They've got all the elements in there. They're doing the right thing. It's just, honestly, dust and smoke is really, really hard to get to look right. And this is a case where they're putting a lot of effort into the effects and the interaction, but it feels a little false. It just takes so much detail. And it's just really getting, this would actually be a good pass on it, and you just keep digging into it and keep going. I'm sure the artist would keep going.
Now, for Amy, you've worked on a lot of movies too. So for Transformers and Pacific Rim, because I love those movies, because they are something that doesn't really exist in the world. Not like animals. Animals, like we know what they look like. But then for like robots, monsters, kaijus, they're not that real. How do you make it real?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's basically come down to the realism stuff is something that it actually comes with a lot of learning, practicing, and it's not something that you can just dive into. So if, for example, like when I'm doing the monster stuff, first I would look, say for instance, dinosaur, right? It's the most close-up thing. Think about how can you make move? They're all really, really big and really, really heavy. That's one thing, really different. So you can't make it the action doing really fast, and that's not believable. So that comes a lot of looking at the references, study them, what can make it believable, this creature. Dinosaur, big, so when you animate, I wanted to make sure timing, spacing, and all that stuff just have to be much more towards the realism. Yeah, and when it comes to robot, how do you animate robot? Because on that movie, our director is very, very, very picky about that because the scale is so big. What makes it that move like a real giant creature? That was one of the biggest challenge of that movie.
Yeah, because I think Pacific Rim, I love it because the giant robots, when they move, there's like a little delay to it.
Yeah.
So you know like that thing's really heavy.
Yeah, that's the physicality that before you need to study. So before you have to animate anything, same thing as robot, you have to understand the physicality, how things move, how to move a heavy object versus a little tiny object. So all these things is basically, it's something that you need to learn and understand.
Do you have to take a lot of time outside of your job to study these things?
Absolutely. I mean, I teach animation too. It's just a lot of students, I think the common mistake is they just go, animating a walk cycle. Easy, right? You just make the leg walk. No. A good walk cycle with a good personality, with everything heavy, like, realistic character walk cycle. That takes a lot of understanding. I mean, even until today, when I'm doing a walk cycle, I still have to film myself, watch other people, how they walk from daily life, taking footages, or even study myself in front of the mirror. You have to understand the character before you start to animate that shot. I think that's something that takes time and understanding.
I know, Matt, you have a little blue guy.
Yeah.
So you have them move around when you guys travel, you just put them in places.
I wanted to make one. I'm like, those are so cool, because I work on these really complicated characters all the time, and I'm like, you say simple design, but it's anything but simple. It's like you have to, it's got to be appealing, and it's just all really fun. So I'm like, well, I want to make something like that, and like, what would I do with it? And I like to film my travels all the time. I'm like, well, I don't want to just make the same travel videos everybody else is making.
So can you walk through the process of making these videos? Because he looks very realistic in those videos.
You know, it's not the high level I work on at work, but I kind of distilled that down to a more simple process that, you know, when I'm out videoing, I don't really think about what I'm, other than, oh, he can maybe go there, let me just film that for a little bit.
There's a lot of people in Taiwan that would love to join this. A lot of them are very, very creative. And then they wanna make stuff. To make that happen, like what do they have to do, like to join this industry?
I really just start as an artist, not even like a real professional artist. I love to draw, you know, I love to create things. I used to, and I remember when I was young in class, I'm just like doodling these cute little characters, right? And it really just started from there, same as everyone else. Visual effects and animation, it's really related. Animation, a lot of people think visual effects is like, oh my God, it's really beyond far reach. But if you look at the movie these days, it doesn't really matter if it's like a cartoony or visual effects or anything. Everything it touches these days, more and more visual effects goes into it, really. So, I mean, as long as you have some kind of animation knowledge, I mean, that's the basic thing. You know how the basic composition, you love art, your texture, it's like the basic art stuff. And then obviously you just have to come and take a course because we talk so much, you know, starting from where you should go to the proper school or online, things like that. Basically foundation of art, and then you kind of proper understanding of basic animation. And then if you want to get further more, you probably go into an institution or you want to go into online class or, you know, find this course. And then the next one you can say, hey, you know, this is really, really cool. I really, really want to do this. How do I integrate it into my life?
In order to join this industry, do they have to have like a certain degree from school, or can they just do it with like a portfolio, the stuff they made?
I would say used to, you know, especially for Chinese parents are like, you know, get a degree, right? That's the reason I got a degree. But if you ask me, does my degree has anything to do with what I'm doing right now? Absolutely not.
Depending on if you have to be in certain countries, there might be requirements. So like you have to have this certain degree to get offered this job. As far as when I look at and review artists' work, I'm looking at their demo reel, that's it. I don't care where they went to school, I don't know where they went to school most of the time. Now, that's not to say that going to school is a bad thing, but we've had loads of animators that go through online programs, and they're great, and we want them to be great animators.
But basically, at the end, the answer is not necessarily. It's really just your passion for love and how much you wanted to learn.
You guys have a course. We'll talk about the course. We'll go through the practical stuff for now. If they take your course, from that point, how would they get a job?
You just have to apply. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is like once you've got kind of the skill set that you feel like you're confident, your animation, you compare it to others and go, you know what, this is, I can do that. Or if there's a big project going on and they need 100 animators to get it done, that's a great time to strike. So you just have to be a little patient. Whatever
that you made, right? You could have just take this course, other places, and you made a little guy like the blue guy, whatever, and that's your portfolio. So use that portfolio, you can get into say, hey, you know what? Maybe I get my foot in one door, and you get into another door, and you get into another door, and that just opens a door for you.
It's good time to be getting into this because there's so much resources out there for everybody.
And you guys have resources too, right?
We
Absolutely.
Are. Yeah.
Let's talk about a course.
Sure. We wanted to have a course that was for a beginner or for a seasoned artist that just wants to, you know, freshen up on their skills. It's mainly focused on animation because we're both animators. And we'll take you through, you know, we've got 4 kind of key demos that we go through, you know, starting a little bit basic and then getting much more advanced towards the end, going through creature animation and character acting and just talking about kind of the concepts of animation and things that they need to know. And then we've also got a section kind of that is very similar to what I did with my blue guy, was I wanted to distill it down to, well, what if you just want to make your own characters and put them on social media? And like, okay, I'll show you how you can do that. Have one of my characters wave at everybody and say, hey, come to Taipei, kind of thing. Great, we'll do that. Or if you want to really build your skill level up as an animator, you can watch those demos too, and I'll take you through what it's like to animate a creature and things we think about when we're animating. And
we also shared a little bit of our insight because we've been in this industry for so long, and what do's and don'ts and, you know, common mistakes, and Just like a little secret thing.
Don't talk back to the boss. Don't say no to a client.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. A lot of insights. So a lot of stories to share.
Yeah.
That's good.
You're gonna hear us jabber on a lot. It's gonna be great.
We heard a lot about like animators, VFX teams. Like it's hard work. They're undercompensated. Like the work hours and the pay doesn't really match and stuff like that. What makes you guys want to like keep going, or why stay in this industry?
I'm a little different than Amy here. Is I wanted to be an animator since I was super little. I started drawing Garfield when I was 4th grade or whatever, and I wanted to do hand-drawn animation. I really like just bringing kind of nothing to life. That's neat, and that's what I always liked about drawing. Is I could draw 10 drawings and flip them, and it's like it's suddenly turning and acting. That's cool. Artists throughout history have gotten paid poorly and don't do well, but people keep doing it because they love it. And you can certainly make a living at this job. We've been able to do that, and I've been doing this for 20 plus years. So there are struggles, like any job. Life of Pi, we won the Oscar, we all lost our jobs because the company went under. So there's some realities of that kind of thing. I still love what I do. I still love animating, so I don't want to do anything else.
I mean, it's not something I say. If you say, hey, I just want to make money and just, and I want to work in a bank. I'm sorry, I hate to say this is not for you. But if any artist who watching this, they have the same vision and passion that we are. We are artists. Artists, that's just truly, you're right. There's a lot of long hours. I can't lie to you about that, but it's the same as any other job, right? There are downsides with our industry. It's the same as any other job. But because I love art, today, if you give me more money to do something else, I did turn down a lot of jobs that making 3 or 4 times more money. Ask him. I said no. It's because I can see down the road I will suffer. So I'd rather to take a little bit less money, and I'd rather to spend until, like, sometimes I work until 2 a.m. It's because I love the shot that I do. And I love, like, afterwards, seeing my name and everything. It's like my piece. This is my artwork. This is any industry. As long as you're passionate, if you love what you do, you are gonna make money regardless. What we're trying to say is, if you just say, I don't know what to do, and I don't have passion for art, okay, I'm coming in because I want to make money, then this is not for you. You gotta love what you do. If you love it, you spend time, your stuff is gonna be amazing, and therefore you're gonna be.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having us. This is really
thank
great
you so
to have
much.
us on, and I hope for those of you that are interested in animation, you'll check out our course and dig deeper into animation and visual effects. It's a really fun career.
Keep your passion alive.
I need people to get into this field more. So
Absolutely,
there's more movies for me to break down. So we all make money.
That's
Yeah, if you have this creative mind, if you have your own little creation, and then bring it to life.
So thank you both so much, and hope
Thank
you had
you.
a good stay in Taiwan. Hope you guys had fun, and hope you guys come back.
We will.
Yeah. 那喜欢我们88演示的朋友，记得订阅、按赞、分享。我们下次再见哦，拜。对这个动画课程有兴趣的朋友，现在有早鸟募资限时优惠，输入我们的折扣码巴拉350，再折350块哦。详细活动内容可以看底下的资讯栏。